Most people think rich people have a secret credit system. They don't. They just know how the credit scoring system works. And once you do, you can win too. I'm Jose Rodriguez, also known as the Credit Dude, and I'm the owner and founder of Got Credit. I've been helping people master the credit scoring system for over 16 years. In this video, I'm gonna break down simple credit strategies that you can use to unlock the scoring system and maintain a high credit score. These are not gonna be hacks. These are actually gonna be habits. And if you apply them correctly, your credit profile will work for you instead of against you. So let's go ahead and dive in to the first credit strategy. I want you to make sure that you're asking for credit limit increases consistently. A lot of people think that once they get that credit limit increase one time, that's it, that the bank is never gonna increase you again. But I want you to know that if you start off with a $500 or even $1,000 credit limit today, over time, that can turn into a $10,000 or $15,000 credit limit. And what you want to make sure you do is maintain on-time payment history throughout the lifeline of that credit card. You want to make sure you never really have a late payment, and you want to make sure that you're paying not only on the statement date or the due date, but a little bit before. You want to demonstrate good habits when it comes to you paying, because this is going to ultimately help you when asking for a credit limit increase. And the best way to do this is typically to either call them, right? On the back of your credit card, there is a number where you can call, and you can either speak to a customer service rep, a manager, a supervisor, or just ask for the credit limit increase department, right? What you want to make sure you do is say, hey, listen, I've been a member, or I've had this credit card for X amount of years, X amount of months, and you can use this strategy every 6 to 8 months. So imagine if you're paying on time, you have a $1,000 limit, and in 5 years, that credit card can easily turn into $5,000 or $10,000. Like I was saying, it can increase over time. And the way you do this, like I said, is by calling. You could also go into your app. In your app, sometimes there are features where you can apply for a credit limit increase. You can maybe contact the support department either by email, but you want to make sure that you use what works for you. Some people like calling, some people like just using the app. But if you are going to call, make sure that you do it without a credit check. A lot of places will actually increase your credit limit without you even asking, because you've demonstrated proper credit habits and you've never been late and also kept a low balance. So you might be surprised that just by you maintaining that credit card and you doing the right things with that card, they're going to increase your credit limit right away. And I can tell you that by not only having a high credit limit, that's also going to get you a high credit score, because the more available credit you have over time, the higher your credit score is, being that credit utilization accounts for 30% of your credit score, or 165 points. But I don't want you to think that just because you have available credit or that you get these limits increased over time, that you're going to use them. You just want to make sure that you're never spending over the credit limit or even close to it. But if you are, just make sure you pay it down. Like I said, payment history is always going to win. And just because you do have access to that credit limit, don't go crazy, don't go nuts, don't now start maxing it out every single month and just making the minimum payment. It's always great to just have it available. But I'm telling you, if you have several credit cards that start off at $500 to $1,000, and I'm just trying to give you a nice, honest picture here, and let's say in 5 years, each of those credit cards turn to $5,000 or $10,000, you're easily looking at access to $50,000 of available credit. Now, which one is easier? Saving $50,000 or having access to $50,000 in credit over time? Because I don't know how long it's going to take you to save $50,000 or $100,000, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a little bit easier to get $50,000 to $100,000 in credit within the next 5 years rather than saving it. Let's go ahead and talk about credit strategy number 2. This one is never carry high balances. Now, I understand that things happen in life. There's emergencies, whether you own a business or whether there's a medical or family emergency. Carrying high balances is always going to be a risk to the credit card department. Now, you might think, hey, listen, what does it matter? I have a $5,000 credit limit, and if I have $4,000 on it, what does it matter if I'm making the minimum payment? I'm paying over time. Now, this is not how rich people think. Rich people do not carry a high balance. They're used to just paying things off in full every single month. And that's where you want to do too. You want to get into the habit of paying your credit cards off in full every single month if you can. By doing this, it's also going to increase your chances of getting that credit limit increase that we talked about. Just because, like I said, you have access to $5,000 doesn't mean, hey, let me just make the payment. Let me just use $5,000 and make the minimum payment. Even though you're still making on-time payments, this does affect 165 points of your credit, which I said is 30%. That's gonna put you in a risky category. So At the end of the day, if you have $5,000 and you don't have $5,000 in the bank, be careful, and I wouldn't use it unless you're going to see $5,000 coming in down the road, because carrying high balances is one of the no-nos. And unfortunately, like I said, rich people don't do that. So if you're going to start using your credit like rich people, you want to make sure you do everything possible to not carry a high balance. And even if you do everything possible to chip away at the balance, whether it's getting a side hustle, maybe even getting a personal loan to pay it off, borrowing money from a family member, or just making sure that you're not adding to that debt either. Like, what you want to make sure you don't do is, if let's say you have a $5,000 credit card, you put $4,000 on it, you make the minimum payment, and then you add an extra $500 on it. You don't want to keep stacking and stacking and stacking, so that way it reaches the credit limit, because that's going to look very bad on your credit score and not get you the credit limit increase down the road that you want. Credit strategy number 3 on how to use your credit like rich people is never close an account. You know, a lot of people go sometimes 10, 15, 20 years with an open credit card. That's how you maximize your credit scores. That's how you beat the credit system, because when you close a credit card, what it does is it lowers the available credit you have, and it reduces the average age of open accounts. Now, these are two different categories, but average age of open accounts, or time in file, actually accounts for 15% of your credit score, which is about 82.5 points. Now, you see these numbers that I'm throwing at you, 82.5, 165, even payment history is 35%, which is 192.5. These are high numbers, right? So if you're closing old credit cards that have sometimes 10, 15 years of credit history, you're closing the available credit, you're reducing the average age of open accounts, and you're putting yourself in a position to make it seem like you don't have any open available credit. Now, you do want to strive for about 3 to 5 credit cards over a period of time. And like I said, if you're asking for credit limit increases over time, you're keeping your balances low, and then let's say 10, 15 years down the road, man, it would be great, because now your credit profile is a lot longer than the average consumer that maybe just started building credit 5 years ago. This is the reason why a lot of people love authorized user accounts. Now listen, if you have a family member that has a high limit credit card, I'm talking about mom, dad, uncle, a cousin, even a college roommate or a friend that you know, if they have a credit card that they can add you to that has a high credit limit, that doesn't have any late payments and has a low balance, this actually could help you in this category. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not an advocate of buying authorized user trade lines from people that you don't know and paying monthly for credit cards of people you don't know. But if you do know someone that does have a high limit credit card, by all means, have them add you as an authorized user. It's a great way for you to not only establish credit, but also for you to build a strong credit profile that's going to last, that can show that you have 10 to 15 years of credit history. This is one of the best ways. This is one of the ways that a lot of people build generational credit. This is how the rich people do it, because as soon as their kid turns 18, they've already been on their credit card for at least 6-7 years, right? Sometimes they get added at 13, 14. So now when they turn 18, they have a 10, 15-year-old credit card on their credit report. What, they start building credit at 3? No, it's because mom and dad or an uncle or aunt and uncle or even a sibling added them to a credit card that had that many years of credit activity, and now their credit score at 18 is 800, 750 right off the bat. So now they're able to apply for a credit card and start the process there. And then they add their kids as an authorized user, and so on and so on. So keeping old accounts open is one of the greatest ways to maintain a high credit score, and exactly how the rich people do it. Credit strategy number 4 is pretty much taking control of your credit balances and typically never going above 30%. Ideally, you want to stay around 10. So remember why I was saying that you never want to carry high balances. Now listen, I know things happen, life happens, things get in the way, and you might not be able to pay off the imbalance in full. I get it. And if you're not able to pay it off in full, do everything possible to at least get it under 30%. Now, carrying it over 30% is still not going to get you the points if you were paid off in full. And of course, if you get it down to 10%, that's even better. But we know things happen. We know that there are certain circumstances that it's not going to allow you to pay it in full. But I can tell you, if you've ever heard, oh yeah, the credit bureaus want you to keep a balance and they want you to keep debt in order to give you a high credit score, that's not the truth. If you really want to have the most amount of points in the credit utilization category, keep your balances at 1% rolling over time. So that means whatever your credit limit is, find out what 1% of that credit limit is, and make sure that when you pay your credit card debt down, before the statement date, that when it reports to the credit bureaus, that it's at 1% of the utilization. That's actually going to get you the highest credit score possible, okay? But if you're not able to pay it off in full, 10 to 30% is ideally where you want to be at. One of the things you could do to make sure that you never miss a payment is put everything on Autopay. So I know a lot of people put Autopay to pay off the entire balance, okay? You could actually put a specific amount that you want paid, or make sure you at least set it for the minimum payment. So that way, when the bill comes and you know that you're not able to pay it off in full, that you at least make the minimum payment and get it down as much as possible to 10 to 30% of the credit limit. So that way you're in a good position overall. Like, remember, rich people don't carry balances, but we do know that rich people sometimes carry a little bit of a balance because things happen. Maybe the cash flow was tied up. Maybe they're not able to pay it off in full. So even if you have a $30,000 to $45,000 credit card, which is possible, and you have a $5,000 balance on it, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to hurt you down so much down the road, but you are going to be paying interest. And if you're not able to tackle that debt right away, it could pile up eventually. And last but not least, number 5 is stop applying for everything. Now, the great thing about having a high credit score and having high credit limits is that you're gonna be able to get approved whenever you apply. Now, if you're applying every single month and getting denied, or you're applying every single month for something new, and you're running your credit every single month for credit cards, for loans, for mortgages, and every single month is something new, that's gonna be a risk. That's gonna put you in a very, very bad position. So make sure that if you are applying for credit, that you're doing it strategically. Now, I can tell you that one of the greatest things and one of the greatest advantages that rich people have when it comes to credit is they know they're gonna get approved. Why? Because they've paid on time. They kept the balances low. They don't have the collections. They don't have the late payments. So they know, and they're monitoring their credit. So now when they look at their credit report and it has 800 on IdentityIQ, they're like, oh, you know what? I know that if I apply for this credit card, I'm gonna get approved. There's no way because I have an 800 credit score. Oh, I know if I go for this auto loan, I'm gonna get approved at the best interest rate, at the best terms, sometimes not even put any down payment, or sometimes they get the car, even though they can pay it off in cash, they get the car, put on their credit report, leave it there for a couple months and pay it off. That way they can build some auto credit history, which is also a great thing too. So make sure that if you are applying for credit, that you're doing it strategically, that you're not just doing it at the whim and then you're just applying every single month to see if you get approved, because that's ultimately going to hurt your credit. And even though inquiries remain on your credit report for 2 years, they only affect your credit score for the first 12 months, okay? So it's okay if you've gone crazy before. Just know that moving forward, you only want to apply when you're ready. So like I said, there is no secret club when it comes to having a high credit score. It's just that the rich people and the rich have been taught at an early age on how to maximize and truly use their credit so it can work for them. So as long as you follow these 5 tips that I provided you and these 5 credit strategies, I can tell you that you're on your way to having a high credit score. If you found this valuable and you found this information helpful, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit that notification bell, and listen, comment any questions you have below. I'll comment right away and give you my insight on any questions you have. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one.